We're live now. What's up, Pete? Oh God, Pete, where are you? I was just talking to Pete like two
I
seconds ago. I
no,
swear
I'm
it's the curse.
here. I'm here. I
Oh,
can hear you.
you can't hear me? You can hear me. I'm
Yeah,
here.
I can hear you.
Uh, oh, good, good, good. No, we were just talking pre-show how Pete's internet and sound was really good, but he has like this curse where as soon as he's gonna start talking about his movies or about anything, then it goes away. So I was like, no.
Yeah, the internet's like fuck you, Peter Bear.
I
Nobody
know.
cares what you think.
I don't know what you did to piss at God. Happy Monday, everybody. I feel like absolute shit today. I don't know what happened. I just didn't sleep well, and I've just been like, ugh, in bed. I've literally been in bed all day. I've taught, like, I've given 3 classes, and I got up just to eat, and now I'm back in bed. I'm gonna go to sleep right after this. I think I feel a little bit better tomorrow. But I hope you had a better day than me. Hopefully.
I had
I don't
like
know.
4 classes today actually, and I have like 6 tomorrow. So it's a long day.
Yeah, long day. It's just kind of long and boring. It did rain a little bit. And I ate some Fruit Loops. I think that's what happened, man. Because the Fruit Loops are like pure sugar. I'm not used to it. Like I like some sweet stuff, but not that much. And like the Brazilian Fruit Loops are like crack cocaine level, like pure. It's like the pure shit, you know. And my mouth is all cut up. I'm all fucked up today, guys. I'm sorry. I'm all fucked up. So I just had some spaghetti. See if like this balances out. But good evening, all here as always on a Monday. We got some Black Box, Black Boys, Dirty Harry, Hike and Snow. This is what we'll be talking about today. Not necessarily in that order, because we will talk Never Hike in Snow before Black Boys. It just didn't change on my slide like I thought it had. Um, so that's what we're up to today. But Pete, before we move ahead, I'm gonna ask you to give us some of your quick picks. Anything that you watched that you can talk about real quick that you think people should check out? Some quick picks. He's coming,
Yeah,
Peter.
quick picks. I watched a lot of shit this week actually.
I
Um,
noticed.
yeah. I'm here. Um, yeah, Yeah, I watched a lot of shit. Blumhouse dropped 4 new movies on Amazon Prime, and I watched 2 of them. The first one was one of the movies I'm going to talk about tonight. The other one was The Lie. It was okay.
Oh,
Not
I heard about
really
this
one of
lie. It's not really a
the
horror
more
movie,
memorable
right?
movies. Yeah. It's a psychological thriller. The main character is like so annoying you want to smack her upside the head. But it's a decent story. It's a time killer. Um, I also saw our boy Fassbender in a movie, which was oh fuck, I can't remember the name of Trespass Against Us, which is really good. If you're a Michael Fassbender fan, you want to check that out. It's good.
This is
But it
more
wasn't good
Blumhouse.
enough that I actually wanted to talk about it tonight because I saw.
Okay, and it's more Blumhouse
No,
stuff.
it's A24 actually.
Oh, A24. I always get Blumhouse and A24 confused. You're doing the
No,
A24,
A24.
the
Yeah, and
A24 marathon.
Mar- yeah, Marathon. Yeah, and I skipped the Oasis movie because I don't give a flying fuck about Oasis. But
You know,
yeah,
I
I'm watching
saw.
all the other. I even watched the Amy Winehouse movie actually.
I heard that was really good though, the Amy Winehouse movie.
It was. It was. Yeah, it was. It kind of showed that like her parents really like played a big influence on what eventually happened to her because they kind of forced her into this celebrity role that she wasn't comfortable with. Like her dad was making money off her left and right, and she was like, "Man, I need to get a break." And
You
yeah,
know something? I think
was
I've seen bits of this Oasis movie. I really can't stand Oasis. I'm not a big fan, and I especially can't stand the two brothers. But I think I've seen bits and pieces of it, and it's actually kind of funny. Like they managed to put them in a interesting light. So maybe go back and watch
okay.
it just to be. If it's the same one, I know a while
Yeah,
back somebody in one of the music groups posted a clip from the Oasis movie, and it's just funny because the two brothers just hate each other, and it's just funny watching them fight the whole time and like fuck you this, fuck you that, and they're just angry the whole time. So it's entertaining enough because of that. If it's the same movie I'm thinking about, I don't know if it is. Uh, but cool, cool, cool. I didn't get a chance to watch too much this week. I was running around like crazy. But I will say the end of Lovecraft Country was all right. I'm interested in hearing Pete's opinion on it when he gets around to it because I know he saw the ninth episode. I did a whole long podcast about it last night,
yeah. I'm a
but
week behind because it airs on Sunday.
yeah. So, quick version of what I thought about it. It focused on like what I think is the weakest part of the show, which is the actual plot line with the magic and everything. I'm just not into it. So it didn't interest me that much. I'm with Pete when he says that he feels like it's an anthology series. So every episode is something totally different, even though it has the same characters, and sometimes it hits, sometimes it misses. I think it's hit a few more times for me than for Pete, but still, that for me is the part that's cool. When all of a sudden it's a sci-fi show, all of a sudden it's an adventure, treasure hunt show, all of a sudden it's a ghost show. I can dig that, but the actual like I could care less about the whole the white bitch that wants the book of names and this that and the third, and it just came to a pretty uh, predictable end, and we'll see where it goes for the second season. I think they've set up a pretty cool platform for them to go almost anywhere for a second season with that lady that can travel through the multiverses. It can be almost like Sliders or Doctor Who or something, and be really kind of cool. So that's my quick pick. If you haven't watched Lovecraft Country from episode one, check it out. It's a cool series. And Star Trek Discovery just came back, so I'm curious to see where it's going. I also did a little review of that on my channel last Thursday, and it feels more relaxed. Pete, we were talking about Star Trek before he came on because he just started watching it, and it's frantic, right? Like season one is so frantic. Like that was my takeaway from it. Like it took me a while to for it to settle in and for me to settle into the show. Season two was a little better. They balanced it. In this first episode, it's like people could actually just sit and talk. It was nice. Like, woo, they can breathe a little. So we'll see where it goes. I don't want to give too much away because Pete hasn't watched it yet, and there's definitely some big bombshells as far as plot line. So those are my two quick picks. Sorry, my two quick picks. It's watch Lovecraft Country if you haven't, and get on the Discovery boat. And it's almost like a soft reboot this third season. So if you weren't a fan of seasons one and two, I think you can just kind of get on board with season three, and you won't be missing much. But anyway, let's get to it, guys. Let's move ahead. And Pete's got some movies. He's got one that I've seen people say really good things about, which is called Black Box. The Black Box. Go ahead, sir.
Yes. Sorry, I disappeared for a
Well, go ahead.
second again because the internet hates me. Basically, a Black Mirror episode, but I don't think that's a bad thing because Black Mirror is
Black Mirror is great. Pete, I'm telling you, there's a curse on you because right now, as you're beginning to talk, that's
fucking awesome.
oh my God, this is funny. No, seriously, you were fine, and then you just started talking about it. You went into the Exorcist voice first,
Like
where
some of
yeah, you're cutting out, brother. Pete, he did a very bad thing here in São Paulo to the guy that went to install internet in his house. I'm gonna give you guys the backstory. Oh, there you go. He's trying to connect via his phone. And so this guy that tried to connect the internet to his house, he did a very bad thing to him, and he put a little curse on him, and it's why he has all these issues. There you go.
All right. So yeah, I'm back on my phone.
all right. So
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, this dude has a car accident. His wife gets killed. He gets brain damage. He has amnesia, and he goes to see this doctor who she has this experimental therapy thing to restore his memories, and she can basically pull his synapses out of his brain and convert them into visual imagery, and he can experience his memories and remember who he is. But there's two problems. The first problem is that the memories he's experiencing are very inconsistent with what he knows about himself. Like, he's supposed to be a good guy, and he finds out like he might have been a wife beater, he might have been a child abuser. He's not sure because he can't see anyone's faces. And there's also this monster stalking him throughout these memory trips,
Shit.
and it's really freaking him out. And I think what really made this movie is that he's a father. He has a daughter who's basically been forced to take care of him because he was in a coma for 3 days. He has no memory. Her mom's dead, and this like poor little girl has like basically been forced to be his caretaker when he should be her caretaker. And you kind of get a feeling for that relationship. Like, it had a lot of feeling. And there is a swerve. The movie's only about 90 minutes long, but there is like this swerve at the 60-minute mark. And of course, Craig was like, I saw that coming. But
Craig knows
I
everything.
was like, yeah. I was like, man, I did not see that coming. It totally got me. And the thing is, that's not the end of the movie. That's the 2/3 mark. That just sets up the third act, which was really good. So yeah, I would say this was one of my 5 favorite movies of the year.
Wow. Yeah, I want to check it out. I heard it's a science fiction horror. It's directed by Emmanuel Osei Kufor Jr. and written by the same. I don't know these guys if they've done anything before, but I will definitely check that out. I
Now,
saw Felicia Rashad is in there. I love her.
she is, yes,
Plays
Mrs.
the doctor.
Cosby is actually the doctor who has the experimental treatment. And she was good in it too, actually.
Oh, she's good in everything. She's so classy. She adds a level of class to almost everything. She was in Creed. I think she's the mom. She plays Creed's mom in Creed, and she adds
Okay.
a real nice touch to everything she's in. Oh, cool. Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
check
but
this out.
she's
You said
very against type in this.
she's very against what?
Very against type. Like, she's not really a nice person.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this. What do you mean? She's not nice. Like she beats people up, curses them out.
No, well, like she's got this experimental treatment to help this guy get his memories back, but
Oh, you're
it
talking
becomes
about
a
the character. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Over
I
the
thought you meant.
course of the
I thought
movie,
you meant. I thought you meant Felicia Rashad, like the woman, the actual actress. I'm like, wow, I didn't know she was a bitch.
no, 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 no. Just like she usually plays like really nice characters, and in
Okay.
this one, like you get the feeling, man, this bitch is up to something.
Mm, could be. Could be. Oh, I'm gonna watch this. I keep saying I'm gonna watch it. I haven't had. Oh. And speaking of which, y'all, there's gonna be a Stanley Kubrick podcast coming soon to your computer or whatever device you're using. And I gotta start. I think this weekend has to be my Stanley Kubrick weekend because you've seen more than I have, and you're
I've
ahead
seen
of
a
me.
lot of them in the last 6 months, actually. So no,
Yeah.
not for the
So
podcast. I'm a Kubrick fan. I watch Kubrick movies all the time. So
I know, and I have to watch at least 6 movies. At least. How many movies you got? Like 13 or something? I'm
yeah,
gonna
not
watch
that many. Not that
it.
many. I think all I
I've
have
only seen
left is
maybe
Eyes
four of
Wide
them.
Shut.
Yeah, so I gotta do that. So guys, that's coming up. So the kind of a Black Mirror-ish type show. So
Yeah,
I,
yeah, and I gotta say, like the little girl in this movie is so awesome. Like when the plot twist actually happens, I'm not going to give away the plot twist, but I was like, motherfucker, you better not break that little girl's heart, man. She's like done everything for you. She's taken care of your brain dead ass when you had no memories. Like you got to do right by that little girl.
I'll check it out. I want to watch some new stuff. It is Halloween,
Almost,
so
almost.
well, Halloween month. We say, it's the Halloween spirit
Yeah, I haven't really felt it this year though.
because it's been Halloween all year. Everybody
Yeah,
wearing masks.
exactly. We're living a horror movie, so it's kind of hard to totally embrace it. But
But with that comes horror movies, and the horror classic, of course, is Friday the 13th. And a few years back, there was, when did this come out? The Never Hike in the Snow, I think, came out I'm on their wiki page, and they should have the year like, oh, there you go. October, no, that's Never Hike in the Snow. That's the one that just came out. The
that's the
story
one that
is
was streaming like a
Never,
few days
Never
ago.
Hike Alone came
Ah,
out
okay.
in 2017. 54 minutes. Did you watch that first one, Never Hike Alone?
No, I've never even heard of it actually.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's a Friday the 13th fan film. And these guys just set up like a, what do you call it? What do you call those? GoFundMe things, you know? Uh,
Crowdfunding, crowdfunding.
yeah, it was crowdfunded. It was a crowdfunded movie. It 54 minutes long, created by Womp Stomp Films. It was released Friday the 13th, 2017 on YouTube, and it has since gained over 1 million views. But it's worth it.
Damn.
Dude, it's really well made. It's probably better than most Friday the 13th movies. I mean,
Okay.
there's some classic ones in there, but because it cuts to the chase, no pun intended. It just goes right to the part
Right.
that you see, and doesn't worry about giving us all this backstory about who this guy is, who that guy is, and so I loved it. Okay, it stars this kid who's out backpacking near Crystal Lake, and he ignores the ghost stories, and then his innocent search for the camp turns deadly when he's attacked by Jason Voorhees. So I thought that was it, no more, until last week they released Never Hike in the Snow.
Yeah, but this one got Tom Matthews in it, didn't it?
Yes, yes, playing Tommy
Yeah.
Jarvis. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, like holy fuck, what a coup for a fan movie, man.
I know. Well, in the first movie, he was in there too. He was in there. We had the cast was Vincent DeSanti was Jason Voorhees. Okay. Then we got Andrew Leidy as Kyle McLeod, Tom Matthews as Tommy Jarvis, Kate Schwartz as Denny Morgan, and Robert Du Bois as Axel Macaulay. But in the second movie, he comes back. Tommy Jarvis, he's in there too, and it takes place 3 months before Never Hike Alone. And Douglas
Okay.
Tate, who played Jason in the last scene of Freddy versus Jason, was set to play Jason, but pulled out due to scheduling conflicts. And the plot is this: set 3 months prior to the events of Never Hike Alone, that follows a strange disappearance of Mark Hill, a Crystal Lake resident who went for a hike in the dead of winter and never came home. So it's a prequel. Dude, fucking awesome. It's only 30 minutes. This is the only bad part about it. Let me see if they have the runtime here. I can't seem to find it. But it's about 30 minutes long. The issue with it is that they set up a lot of cool stuff. Like Jason takes his mask off and meets his mom and some weird like
Hmm.
vision. Uh, the whole plot line of this kid out there in the snow out near Crystal Lake. There's a sheriff who's after Tommy Jarvis, and Tommy Jarvis is out there with a gun trying to find Jason and finally kill him off. They put a lot of elements that were really well made, really well acted for that level of movie. But it ends so abruptly. What I found out from our friend Scott, and by the way, shout out to Scott because he gave us a shout out on his podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was
Cheers
really cool.
to Scott and Heather. And Heather.
And Heather, yeah. Oh, Heather's like, I keep saying, Heather's the brains of the operation. No, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, she's
A fellow,
bloodthirsty, man.
I know, fellow Canadian. Uh, uh, and what do you call it? So yeah, shout out to Scott, and we'll probably post this on his page too because he lets us post, which is really cool of him. Um, but he told me that there's a part two to this movie, which makes me excited for it because it was like such a cool setup. I hadn't watched the Friday the 13th movie, well, since I did the podcast with Jeremy Wardy on it, but I haven't seen one since. And they get kind of lame after a while. I mean, there's not much you can do as far as plot beats.
Actually, I thought they got better. I thought they started lame and got better.
Oh, I don't know. I got tired around the fifth or sixth one, which I think got them really upset because apparently number five or number six is considered a classic. But I was just like done. I was like, oh, it's the same.
Oh,
Like,
five is garbage, but six is great. Six is the best.
is that the one? There was one I didn't like, and everybody
That's the
got
one
really.
with Tom Matthews. That's the one with Tom Matthews.
Oh, then I
Yeah,
think I
because it
like.
was
Oh, you
very
know which one I didn't like?
self-aware.
You know the one I didn't like? I know which one that got everybody upset. The one with the little boy, the Corey Feldman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Part four. I actually really like that. That's one of my favorites as well. But yeah, it got a lot of hate.
Corey Feldman, and I dig the one, even though I know folks don't like it because it's not really Jason at the end. Spoilers, but I kind of dug it. It was kind of funny. The one where it
That
was like
that
some other
part five. Part five.
guy. That's part
Yeah,
five. Okay.
yeah. No, apparently the thing with that. Yeah, yeah. The thing with that movie was apparently the director had a background in softcore porn, so he hired
Yeah.
like all the actresses based on their tit sizes, and he just made it really crass. Like, if you go for that kind of thing, I can see how it would be entertaining, but
I think that's why I
I
liked
don't
it
know.
then.
Maybe,
It was,
yeah, yeah, okay, fair
like,
enough.
cause it took the camp level, like when the little fat dude got killed and stuff by that like macho guy. That was funny. That was a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
movie.
he
And then
just chops him up with an axe.
yeah, and then the black dude is gets killed in the shitter. That's some funny shit right there. And isn't that with the one with the little black boy too? Because they're all like on some farm or something. They're all like on this farm for crazy people. Oh, I liked it. I like that movie. It's campy as fuck, but I dig it. But in any case, guys, check out this series. It's like super short movies. I suggest watching the first one because it's longer. It develops the characters a little bit more, develops the story. Jason comes off as seriously like a threat. This one, like I said, it felt like the perfect prelude to something amazing. And then boom, it ends. And I'm like, what? So I would like it to have a part two, which, like I was mentioning, Scott, he said apparently they're trying to do a part two. And I don't get how they're able to do these movies, actually. I don't know. Is Jason part of like the public domain? Can people just. Because I know folks that try to do like these Star Trek movies, like fan movies, they shut them down sometimes. CBS, Paramount, they don't fuck around with their property. So I don't know how they get around to making these movies, but they're really good, you know? And I think they're the right amount of, yeah, they're right length, man. I mean, how many times can a bunch of teenagers show up at this Camp Crystal Lake and get killed and it be fresh and new? You know, you think people would put up bigger signs like "Don't enter," but you know, it is what it is. But I dig it. I dig it, and I recommend it if you haven't seen it. Peter, are you there? No. Oh, there he is. What's up, Peter? So yeah, definitely recommend this one for those of you that are horror fans and those of you who are Jason fans. I know a lot of folks that are Jason fans, and they give these two movies now big props for Never Hike Alone and the new one that just came out, which is Never Hike in the Snow, and you can find them on YouTube. So they're there. They're on YouTube. Very easy to watch. Let me see what's up with Pete.
I'm here. I'm here.
There he is. There's
Yeah.
the man, Pete.
Bem-vindo à
He's
sua
Yeah.
calling
casa.
you. It's the bitches. And now for something totally different. You gotta ask yourself, do you feel lucky? You gotta ask yourself one question. Do you feel lucky? So why are you watching Dirty Harry, man? Pete will tell us in a second why he's watching Dirty Harry. I don't know what happened. I think somebody tried to call him, so if that happened and he's on his phone, he's going to be knocked out. I have not seen Dirty Harry since I was a kid, and they're all like a mix of a million movies for me. And I did mention to Pete right before we came on that a good idea would be for us to do a podcast review of Dirty Harry because I don't remember most of them. You know,
Oh,
Dirty Harry.
bloody hell,
Agora,
man.
7 dias grátis
That
com
was
muitos
that was just
descontos para você economizar mais.
motherfucker, man.
Descontos de até 100%.
Somebody's called you, man. I can hear like there's a propaganda on your phone. You there? But yeah, it falls into the category of those movies that I've watched but I haven't watched. Like I don't recall ever sitting in front of the TV and watching it from start to finish or renting it or something. My dad liked these movies, so I've seen big chunks of it over and over and over and over in my life. But it would be cool to like sit and actually watch them from start to finish. It's almost like Death Wish. It's just movies that were always on TBS or TNT, which are the two big, or were, I don't know if they still are, the two big cable networks at the time that showed movies. But Pete will be back in a second. Well, let's do this. While Pete is out coming back and figuring out who's calling him, I'm going to talk about Black Boys real quick because I do think it's a documentary worth watching. I got hip to it on one of the Facebook movie pages. Probably Craig again. I keep saying this guy is like our honorary podcast member. We'll have him on at some point. And I thought it was. Hey,
Sorry.
Pete.
Yeah, my phone had a bit of a problem.
Yeah, somebody was calling you. Do you want to talk Dirty Harry? Because I was gonna just go back to Dirty Harry at the end.
Okay, yeah, we can talk Dirty Harry. Yeah, so it's not the first time I have seen this movie. I saw it many years ago, but I think I lacked the context. Like, for me, it was just like, it was a badass cop movie. But since then, I've learned the story behind it, about how it was a response to Zodiac. And yeah, great gift, man. This is like the best scene in the movie. um,
Oh,
it, it
I didn't know it was a response to Zodiac. That's interesting.
was a yeah, that there is a good movie about that. But they actually, in the Zodiac movie, they address Dirty Harry, and they're like, this was a direct response to Zodiac. It's like, motherfucker, the people of San Francisco felt so burned that Don Siegel, who was a San Francisco resident, created this scenario where, okay, this time we win. And it is so un PC. Like, this movie got a lot of flack for glorifying police brutality, which it does. It unashamedly, this scene we're watching right here, it unashamedly glorifies police brutality. But people were at a point where they were like, man, that's what we want. We want the dirty cop. We want the fucking badass who carries a 357 Magnum and just blows people away, shoots first, asks questions later, and doesn't give a flying fuck about the suspect's right. And there's
Yeah.
something very, like, you can identify with it.
You can definitely identify with it. I was telling folks before you came back that this is one of those movies, like you, I haven't seen in a long time. And it falls into the category of those movies that I've seen but haven't seen because it was always on TV growing up. When my dad used to love these movies. So yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to watch them again. We'll probably do a ranking of these movies next after we're done with Kubrick because you made me want to go rewatch it with a different mindset, like you said, like in a different context of what message they were trying to get across. It reminds me
Yeah,
of
yeah.
what's that movie with Charles Bronson?
Death Wish.
Yes, kind of in a similar vein
Yeah.
to Death Wish.
Yeah, it's similar. It's actually really interesting that I realized this came out the same year as The French Connection, which also portrays bad cops, but it portrays them in a bad way. Whereas this, like, you're supposed to root for Harry. Like, there's this. He actually gets the bad guy, um, but the problem is he does it illegally. He kicks in his door. Wow, for fuck's sake. Okay, there we go. He kicks in his door without a search warrant, and can tie the suspect to everything. And because Harry violated the rules, the guy gets to walk free. Like, he didn't have a search warrant, so the guy gets to walk free. And the mayor is telling him, like, that man had rights. He's like, what about the suspects? What about that girl's rights? Like, he's just totally speaking to the people. He's like, fuck the rights of these people. I just want to kill them.
Yeah, that's funny. It's very uh reminds me of what do you call it? We're waiting for the Batman to come out, so it's just this idea of this vigilante. America's got this thing with vigilantism, right? There's a lot of movies that deal with it, some
Yeah.
better than others, and some it's that fine line of being with doing it for morally just reasons, and then you get that movie that you tip me
Right.
off on, Targets, where then it's on a
Yeah.
different level. It's this battle between good and evil, and who's allowed to wield the justice gun, and who. That's a great thematic. What do you call it? Kind of meditation in a lot of American movies, because America's all about guns and you know
Yeah.
the bad
Yeah.
the bad
And
guys, the animals, punks.
yeah, yeah, and there is a lot of like iconic shit in this. Like this GIF we're looking at now. I mean, that's a great scene. Like, it, for anyone who hasn't seen it, I don't know how you haven't seen this, but basically he's on his lunch break and he sees like these dudes robbing a bank, and he pulls out the 357 Magnum that he carries around for fun and starts shooting people, and he corners this guy, and he's got the gun close to him, and he's basically daring him to go for the gun. He's telling him like,
Yep.
like, did I fire 5 shots or 6? To tell you the truth, I can't remember, and all this excitement.
I
And so he
know. And
dares
Clint
him to
Eastwood.
go for it. And this is
Yeah.
the iconic line: "Do you feel lucky, punk?"
Yeah. Yeah, that's no, and Clint is just great in this movie, because he takes his time with these lines, man. He's a cool cat, and it's
Yeah,
funny
yeah, yeah,
because there's something dirty about Dirty Harry in a way, because like you said, it doesn't feel PC at all, but it's as kind of pulp as it feels a little bit. Yet it's a theme that when he became a
yeah.
director, he deals with constantly, which is justice.
Yeah,
Who
he
has
went
the right?
against, like, completely against his. Yeah, yeah. As a director, he was actually very anti-violence, and as an actor, it's like that was his career.
That was his career. No, but I don't know because I've seen a few of his movies, and it's like, yeah, I mean, he does have some message in his movies, like, don't be violent. But at the same time, like if you watch Unforgiven, and what's that one where he's like this old dude living in this black neighborhood. Oh, I forgot the name now. That was a good movie too. But like he is this guy
Uh,
who meets up
I
his
don't.
own justice.
I don't think.
I
Okay,
forgot the
I
name of
was
that
thinking
movie.
you were thinking of El Camino.
Oh, I
El
didn't see that
Camino,
one.
but that wasn't a black neighborhood. That was a Korean neighborhood. Oh, really? Oh, it's amazing, actually. Yeah, he totally
Uh,
reminds me of El Camino.
Gran Torino. Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I'm thinking it was a blood. No, you know what it was? Because there's a scene with these black kids, and they're trying to fuck with the people in the neighborhood, and he's being an old guy, but a tough old guy. Yeah, he's got the mule. The mule's the one I didn't see, but Million Dollar Baby is really good. Gran
The
Torino.
Mule is excellent, actually.
Let me see. Mystic River. But yeah, he made his whole career on just being this bad dude. But I don't know. It's a good theme when it comes to
He's
American
really
movies.
handsome in this movie too. Like, look at that guy. Like, he's been an old man for so long. It's easy to forget that back in the day, he was like a good-looking guy.
Oh yeah. And I'm wondering if when he's ever gonna kick the bucket, man. The guy doesn't quit. He's actually. I think I heard a story
No,
that
no,
he.
I know. Quentin Tarantino's giving up on directing because it's a young man's game. And this guy's still directing movies at 90.
I just heard a story that he's directed a movie. I don't know to direct. I don't know what it is, but Clint Eastwood is to star. He's gonna star and direct. Cry Macho. What a name.
Okay.
Uh, Clint Eastwood finds his, this is from Deadline.com. Clint Eastwood finds his next film coming on to star and direct Cry Macho for Warner Brothers. Even as the industry slowly gets back to work, Eastwood looks to be moving quickly to get his next movie going. He's going to star and direct this Cry Macho, which is about what? Knowing how quick Eastwood shoots can go, insiders add the film could be in front of audiences by next winter. Uh,
Wow.
but I have no idea. Based on the book, the film would star Eastwood as a one-time rodeo star and washed-up horse breeder who, in 1978, takes a job from an ex-boss to bring the man's young son home and away from his alcoholic mom. Crossing rural Mexico on their back way to Texas, the unlikely pair faces an unexpectedly challenging journey during which the world-weary horseman may find his own sense of redemption through teaching the boy what it means to be a good man. Huh.
Hmm.
Seems like a nice movie. I could
Okay
watch
then.
it.
Yeah,
I'd watch
yeah,
it.
it could be fun.
Yeah, could like
I'll
two
watch
people in a
anything
car
with Clint.
having a moment. Two guys in a car having a moment. All right. Do a Dirty Harry marathon and get back to you guys on it because I and then you know what my favorite line from this? I don't know if it was from this one specifically, but a man's got to know his limitations. I use that quote all the time. That's like the quote of my life. I really like that, and just this whole movie in general. You feel lucky, punk. Do these boys feel lucky? This is the last one we're going to talk about tonight. And they definitely don't feel lucky. This movie, Black Boys, which I started talking about a little bit before Pete came back, it's a movie by the Peacock Network, which apparently now everybody has a streaming network. So NBC, this is, I guess, NBC's uh, production studio, whatever it is. And they made this little movie called Black Boys, and it's about the struggles and the things that black boys have to deal with in American society. You know what? Not too bad of a movie. It's not great. It's not anything super amazing, and it's similar to like how Pete was
All right,
talking
so
a couple weeks ago
looking at Black
with the social
Boys.
network. It's stuff that we kind of already know. It's got a 4.3 rating on IMDb. Oh my god, it's not that bad. Just doesn't shine any new light on anything, and towards the end it gets a little boring. The first part of it is actually better than the second part. Uh, so it says here, IMDb, Black Boys eliminates the spectrum of black male humanity in America, an intimate intergenerational exploration. Black Boys strives for insight for black identity and opportunity at the nexus of sports, education, and criminal justice. And it stars a bunch of famous black folks. It's a documentary, so we got Carmelo Anthony, Chris Carter, Harry Edwards, Jamel Hill, Malcolm Jenkins, John King Jr., Chris Long, Vic Mensa, Greg Scruggs, and a whole cast of other people. And I like that it treated these boys with respect because that's something, even if you take the race out of it, one thing that I've liked in the last 5, maybe 6 years or so, and actually a fellow Canadian, Jordan Peterson talks a lot about it, which is masculinity, the importance of taking care of boys. And there's been just this movement of male hate and everything that's masculine to be hated, and people really try. They seem like they spend a lot of effort on trying to take care of women, which is fine, nothing against that, and kind of neglect that hey, boys also have emotional issues. They have insecurity. They pretty much have all the issues that women have, just that it can manifest in different ways and needs to be taken care of and addressed in a different way than you would with a girl. And boys that don't get that turn into horrible men. So I like how Jordan Peterson kind of talks a lot about that. And you add this extra layer of race, and it's even more uh, pertinent of an issue of black boys having mentors, being able to go to good schools and stuff like that. Because in uh, in society, pretty much, I mean, in America, definitely, but even here in Brazil, if you're a young black boy, you don't have a lot of role models to look up to know, like, I can do something other than be an NBA star or an NFL star or sing well or dance well. So I like that part of the movie in the beginning where they were talking about how even from this time of slavery, black men were glorified for their bodies. I was actually listening to a little bit of Joe Rogan today, and he always goes on this about, oh, people from this part of the world, he's talking about certain parts of Africa, have genetically the best, they're the best athletes and the best this, which may be true, but it's a icky feeling when I listen to him talk about that because it it's been used to kind of keep black people in this little box of like, okay, you're only good for your physical capacities and not your mental capacities. And it's taken quite some time, and I think it's still a process for black men especially to be appreciated for their minds and other things that they can do. So the movie really deals with that, how important it is for these boys to have other options, because when they're growing up in the ghetto, really their only way out in their mind is, hey, I got to really play football really well, or I got to jump high and play basketball. Either that, or I'll turn to drugs, or I'll become a rapper. And what do you have, like a 0.0001% chance of ever making it? And they don't focus on other things like, getting a degree or something, but they don't have anybody there to tell them that. And the movie also goes into how, oh, it had this really scary statistic about how, I forgot, oh, I should have written it down, about how the chances of a black boy going to prison lessen by, I don't know, like 60 or 70% if they have one black male teacher before like the fifth grade or something, some scary statistic like that. So important for us to see ourselves, as young black men in adults and see ourselves in a positive light. We don't always see that. So the movie digs into that a little bit. I like when they were in Philadelphia actually, and this guy who opened a school, like a private school that's 80% boys and mostly black, and it's like almost like a second chance school for these kids. And then they interview a lot of black boys. They're like between 14 and 17, around that age. And it's so, I grew up around people like this. So I got to see, it was like a flashback, like, wow, things haven't changed that much. Because you hear the insecurity in their voice. When they ask them, well, who are you? What are you? And one of the kids is like, man, I'm actually really smart. It's just like, if somebody just gave me like the right thing to do, like I could show that. But that is not the interactions that they're having when they're at school. The interactions that they're having, a lot of times the teachers are afraid of them. They think that, oh, okay, he's going to be really good for our football team, but I'm not going to give him this Shakespeare play to read because he's not going to like this. And it's like the opposite is true, because I've worked with inner city kids and with Shakespeare, and they love it. So it's just they get so stereotyped into, this is what you are and this is what you're going to grow up to be, that they just follow, because what else is a kid going to do? He doesn't have a mind of his own. He's just going to follow where that road leads, and it leads to either prison or death, basically. And that's why you have these disparities in uh, the prison population. Incarceration rates among blacks is extraordinarily imbalanced compared to whites in America. Uh, and then you have the collateral damage is that now you have a bunch of boys growing up in single family homes, just moms at home, and they have no male uh, what do you call it? No male role model in the house. And then what are they like? Puff Daddy is going to be their male role model outside the house. And it's like, man, you're lost. They're completely lost. So I thought it was a good attempt at bringing this message out. Like I said, it tends to fall a little bit apart towards the second half of the movie. I was really into it for about like 45 minutes. And then the second half just got a little repetitive, got a little boring, but a lot of good issues that it brought up, and it was nice to see people not just crying about it, but actually doing stuff about it. A lot of guys that actually started schools, that started mentoring programs, that started things like this. I'm like, okay, this is everybody can bitch and whine about shit, but take it to the next level. Do something about it. Feed somebody's brain, and it's what uh, they tried to show in this movie, like how to feed these brains. But cool movie, especially for educators. I sent it over to my coordinator at the high school. I don't know if she'll watch it, but because I watching this movie, it triggered some memories from when I was a kid, and I was like the only black kid in the classroom sometimes, and how or even just the only black kid among a group of white boys that were my friends, and how I was treated with a little bit like they were kind of afraid of me or something, like because like I had forgotten those things. It's like, yeah, and it shuts you down a little bit. It took me way later to finally be able to open up and be myself because I was around a lot of white kids growing up. And when I did try to speak up and be a little bit louder or be a little bit more vociferous about something, I was shut down. And that shut me down as a person. It took me a little bit longer, because they talk about in education, especially white folks, you have something that is a mirror. When you're reading Charles Dickens, you're reading Shakespeare, you're reading Mark Twain, you're seeing a mirror of yourself. That's your story. As a black kid or somebody from another race, could be Asian, Hispanic, whatever, you're looking out a window, like this is me, and oh, there's little Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer in all their adventures, but that's not really you. And for a young kid, it's important to have that representation real young so he feels comfortable in being himself. So that's why they push so much this whole representation thing, which is nice, Pete, that we have shows today like Lovecraft Country and even this movie Black Box that you watch. It's in Star Trek Discovery. Man, Star Trek Discovery, episode 1, season 3, uh, we got the lead actress is black. She meets a black guy in the future, and the one guy that is there holding on, trying to save Starfleet, is an Indian. I'm like, wow. Somebody had posted that on one of my friends on Facebook. How that's really rare, because usually when people travel to the future, or there's like a time travel story, there's always going to be like some white folks in the future who are going to have the answers to everything. And it's like this is one of the first time that they saw, and I think that I saw, black woman, all the people that can help her in the future are people of color. One guy's an Indian, the other guy's black. I was like, even though he's not from Earth, I was like, that's cool. But what's interesting is I didn't even pick up on it until he mentioned it, which is a good sign because it shows to me that in entertainment and media, we're getting a lot more representation, different faces, whether it be women, lesbian women's, like Pete talked about that lesbian movie that he saw, not from Pornhub, but from the Canadian lady who's trying to kill her girlfriend. Whether it's gay people, whether it's Indian, whatever, trans, it's nice, and it does matter. It does matter when people say representation doesn't matter. Usually, they are not. Um, They're not part of the group that needs representation. Anyway, sorry, I went on a little rant, Pete. I didn't even notice that you got booted. Put you back in there. What's up, man? You you there,
Oh
Peter?
shit! I'm back. I'm back. Awesome. Yes, because I'm listening to you this whole. But I
I went on a rant because I thought you were there, and I was like, he's being quiet. I guess.
get up
But
here
anyway,
and,
what's up, man?
and you didn't have any sort of ethnic identity. Yeah, yeah. I don't have a sense of ethnic identity, so it's not really important. One particular group of people. I did understand why that would be important for some people. Like, if there's like my problem is I can't relate to anyone, so like it doesn't matter ethnicity or gender, sexual orientation or whatever. Like, I have my own trip going on, and that's fine. But yeah, I can
And
understand
that's why we
how
love you.
it's important to have people. Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. But yeah, I listened to your whole speech. I was screaming at you. It was like, motherfucker can't hear me. God damn it.
Sorry about that.
Um,
Uh,
but
what are your
I can
thoughts? But I'd
understand
like to
what
hear
you're
your thoughts.
saying about how it's important to have people to relate to and have shared experiences to basically make you feel like you're known.
Yeah, make you feel like you're gonna succeed in something.
You know, and then yeah, yeah, and then my father informed because John Wayne movies conditioned me to hate Indians. They were the bad guys, and then my dad informed me like, yeah, God, like I spent all this time watching these John Wayne movies where like I'm like, yeah, I killed the Joe. I'm a realist, and I know what I look like, and I know how I come across to people. So I know I have like the white identity, but what what is the white identity really? Like, you have Irish, you have Italians, like it's pretty broad,
It
you
is
know.
broad.
So
That's funny that you say that because
I
I
don't
asked the
really
same
identify
question.
with any one particular ethnicity.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I kind of have a similar feel like what is black identity? I think that's what makes like I think some black folks don't understand that yet. You know, they
Within the
think
white,
black is a monolith. Black people and Joe Biden don't seem to understand that black is not a monolith. You know, because black people have all different. I mean, they came from all different parts of Africa when they were shipped over here, and they had different experiences. So the most you can have is a shared experience, and I guess when people think white identity, okay, it's wherever country you're from. So white Americans have definitely had a shared experience in this country, a shared history. Black people have had a different shared history. Sometimes they intertwine with white folks, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm much more, I don't like groupthink too much. I think it's very dangerous when you start just going into group what is that identity politics, you know, because we're all individuals and we can't really um not a it's not a monolith, but at the same time we can't deny that there aren't some shared experiences that I'm sure even when you meet somebody here who happens to be Canadian, well, Canada is a big country, but okay, but you're still there's some connection there that you're gonna have with that person that's deeper than if you met a white guy from the U.S. So there's still some connection there from a shared history, even though you are very much your own person. So I think it's important to have, like what you're saying, you got to have some sort of representation somewhere to show that, look, we that have had somewhat of a shared experience, although we are individuals, can all look at this and see, oh, that's something I can aspire to. That's
I
something
mean,
that's
like, I don't know,
interesting.
about 75% of my is Scottish, but I associate Scotsmen with being drunken women beaters. And I
Wait,
don't
say
know,
that
I'm
again because you went into
sorry if that's
exorcist mode.
offensive.
Repeat what you just said
Okay,
because you went into
yeah,
exorcist mode, which I love, by the
75% of
way.
my DNA is probably Scottish. Yeah, yeah.
So
75%
you
of my
like
DNA is probably Scottish. And I
so you like to wear
associate
dresses.
Scotsmen with being drunken women beaters. Well,
Like Sean
yeah, no,
Connery.
I see like the stereotype of Scots. Exactly, exactly. And,
That's a
you
great
know,
interview he
okay, I
did.
am a drunk, but I'm not a woman beater.
I love that interview that he did where he says, I think it was with Barbara Walters or something. He's just like, yeah, they need a little slapping around every once in a while. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
But for
that
whatever
fuck, it's
reason,
Bond, man. It's Bond.
I know, this was
And I mean,
before cancel culture. This
you've
was
seen
before
From Russia
cancel
with
culture.
Love. He gives that bitch 5 across the eyes, man.
Oh, it's funny. It's just funny how society has changed so much because there wasn't cancel culture back then, and he kept on making movies after that interview. It's like, because she asked him straight up, like, do you think women, there's stories of you beating women? Do you think it's right? He's like, yeah, sometimes they need a little smack to put them in their place. It's like, yeah, if that's what Bond says, I could ride with it. Why not? But it worth the watch. Worth the watch. Kind of that whole thing of like, it's nice to see some things from a different perspective, and nice to listen. So when I do hear or watch a documentary or whatever it is, and get somebody from a different perspective, I don't always agree with everything that they say, but it's interesting to at least listen and understand that I'm not that person. I'm not that those group of people. So who am I to say that? Oh, it's just bullshit. It's all in your mind. That's the whole gaslighting argument. And it's like, okay, I can. Maybe we disagree on like how you can improve that, or maybe not. It's not as big. I don't think it's as big a problem as you think it is. But at least I listen, see what it's about, and see what we can do to try to work together to make things a little bit better. But worth the watch, worth the watch. At least for the first 30 minutes or so, when they're talking about how black males have been used for their bodies for so long, because that is so true. Way back, that goes way back from slavery to now. It's just money making. Like the stats about how the NFL makes billions, billions, and there's not one black owner of any of these teams. So it's like basically you're like cattle. You just sent out there to entertain, and you're if you're lucky, if you don't get hurt your first year in, you can have a decent life, make some good money, but what are you really producing? What generational wealth are you creating? And how are you controlling the narrative if you're not the owner of any of these teams? So, interesting stuff to at least think about. But all right, y'all, it's 1:04, 1 hour and 4 minutes in. So we're at our 1 hour mark. We've been really good the last couple of weeks. Pete. We've been ending like right on the hour, which is nice. We're being good boys. On Thursday, I will be on talking Star Trek Discovery, so check that out. If you want to check out on the channel the Lovecraft Country Sunday nights, and I'm planning on doing something else Sunday nights. So watch out for that. So Sundays is gonna be like random movie night for me. And I just posted like I had this Brazilian singer come over my house who was really fucking good. She blew me the fuck away. And I posted that recently on my channel, the our kind of impromptu jam session. And thank you everyone who's watched that because I got more views on that than I thought I would. But it was really nice. She sang the shit out of a bunch of songs, including one in English. She did "Killing Me Softly," and I was like, wow, she's got a hell of a voice. So check that out. I'm not sure if Pete is back or or not. If you are,
I'm,
say
I'm
goodbye,
back. I'm
Pete.
back. I'm with you guys.
You're in the Exorcist voice, which I happen to love. It's like you got possessed.
Oh,
Um, and I'll see you guys. We'll see you
I
guys
know. I know.
next next week. We shall see you guys on Monday around 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern time, Eastern Standard
Yeah,
Time.
you know what I'm thinking of doing, Phil?
Yes.
I'm thinking of buying one of those USB boosters. Uh, they basically like they amp up your internet signal a bit, which I think will probably help a lot.
I know a few people that bought them. They're actually really good. Yeah. And they're not that expensive. So try it. Because the thing is, because you live
Yeah,
in kind of,
like this doesn't
you
actually
live,
affect me.
I think the issue is because you live in a house with a whole bunch of motherfuckers, and it's like 10 o'clock when we do these, sometimes 11. And that's when all of them are in their room watching
Yeah,
Netflix, watching porn, eating up the internet. So during the day when you're
yeah,
working, you don't
yeah.
have as many issues because they're not
Yeah,
doing that much shit during the day. But you're like prime time, and the thing with StreamYard, that's what fucked me up last week. I did the Star Trek
right.
Discovery thing like at 7 o'clock, 7:30, and it kept lagging on me. And I was like, "Whoa, why am I getting bad lag on StreamYard? Because usually my connection is really good." But then I remembered like when I'm with you, it's like it's 10 p.m. now. It's 11, so there's usually nobody on. Or I'll do it like at 2 in the morning or some weird time like that. So then the quality is like crisp quality. Like yesterday, the Lovecraft Country one was like super
Yeah,
crisp the sound. So
yeah.
you
Everyone's
might
jerking
need
off.
that. You might need that because when
Or
you're dealing with rush hour, it's like from 7 to 10, sometimes 9, but usually it goes until 10 or so.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's a bad time.
it's a bad time, but you are even more because you live in a house with a bunch of motherfuckers and they're probably all using the internet like right now as we speak. So you get it all sucked out
Yeah,
at the same time. But whatever, it's been better than a couple than some weeks prior. It's just had what do you call it? Just a few moments
yeah.
there
It
where it
wasn't
just
terrible. I think the recording sounds better than it sounds to me. Yeah.
we shall see. But anyway, y'all, you got a little bit. I don't know why I'm saying y'all all of a sudden.
So, all right, people.
Um, I think I'm like Kamala Harris. Like I'm pandering to the blacks. But anyway, yeah. But I don't know why I got y'all in my head all of a sudden. I do work for a university out of Texas. Maybe that's it. But bye, folks. Until next time. Have a good evening. Adios. Adios.
Yeah.
Adios.